Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Mina who lived in a small village with her parents. They were very poor and often went to bed hungry. One day, a traveling candy seller came to their village. He had a big basket full of delicious candies and lollipops. His loud voice echoed through the streets as he called out, "Chocolates! Chocolates! Tasty chocolates for all the children. Come quickly and grab yours now." Mina couldn't resist the temptation. She wanted a chocolate so badly. But when she turned to her mother, she saw sadness in her eyes. Her mom shook her head slowly, signaling that they didn't have enough money to buy it. Disappointed, Mina could only watch from afar as other children enjoyed their sweet treats. On his way out of the village, the candy seller passed by Mina's house. Seeing her sad face, he asked, "Why aren't you buying candy from me?" Mina hesitated before replying, "I don't have any money." The candy seller smiled and said, "Don't worry, I'll give you this lollipop for free." Mina's face lit up with joy. She thanked him again and again and ate the lollipop slowly, savoring its deliciousness. It was the sweetest lollipop she had ever tasted. The next day, Mina was walking back from school when she saw the same candy seller setting up his stall. Excited, she ran towards him and asked, "Uncle, will you give me another lollipop?" The candy seller recognized her and said, "Of course, child. Are you here to pay for the last lollipop?" Mina blushed and replied, "No, uncle. I was hoping you would give me another lollipop for free." The candy seller shook his head and said, "I'm sorry, but I don't give lollipops for free. Only those who work hard and earn money can buy them." Mina felt disappointed, but she knew the candy seller was right. She went home and told her mother about her plan to earn money for a lollipop. Her mom supported her idea and suggested selling flowers. The next morning, Mina went to the market and bought some flower seeds. With her mother's help, she planted them in a pot and watered them every day. Soon, beautiful flowers started growing. Mina took the flowers to the market and started selling them. She worked hard all day, and by evening, she had saved enough money to buy a lollipop. Excited, she ran to the candy seller's shop, but it was closed. Disappointed, she sat down nearby and started eating the flowers she had not sold. Suddenly, she heard a familiar voice. It was the candy seller. He was surprised to see Mina and asked, "Why are you eating flowers? Aren't they bitter?" Mina explained her situation and said she had saved up just enough money to buy one lollipop. The candy seller was impressed by her hard work and offered her a deal. He said, "I'll give you a lollipop if you promise to sell flowers every day for 1 month." Mina happily agreed. The next day, Mina went to sell flowers again. This time, many people stopped by to ask her about the magical flowers that tasted like sweet lollipops. Mina explained that they weren't magical, but she loved eating them because they reminded her of the delicious lollipop she had earned. People were moved by her honesty and started buying more flowers. At the end of the day, Mina had made so much money that she could buy many lollipops for herself and her friends. Mina continued to sell flowers every day. She never forgot the valuable lesson she learned from the candy seller about working hard and being honest. She used the money she earned to buy not only lollipops, but also food for her family, new clothes for her sister, and even books to improve her education. In fact, she became so successful that one day, she even had enough money to pay off her entire family's debt. Everyone in the village admired Mina for her strong work ethic and kindness. Now let's move on to the next story. There once was a wealthy businessman who doted on his young son. One day, the boy told his father he wanted to buy a lollipop from the street vendor. The businessman took out his wallet, handed the money to his son, and said, "Here, buy yourself a nice lollipop." The boy was overjoyed. He ran to the street vendor and said, "I want the biggest and most beautiful lollipop you have." The vendor carefully selected a giant lollipop, placed it in a paper cone, and handed it to the boy. As the boy walked away, the businessman approached the vendor and asked, "How much did you sell the lollipop to my son for?" The vendor replied, "I sold it to him for $1. The businessman exclaimed, "What, for just $1? That's the cheapest lollipop in my store. Why did you charge him so little?" The vendor smiled mysteriously and said, "Because the price of the lollipop wasn't the issue. I had something else in mind." The businessman was confused. Couldn't understand what the vendor meant. The vendor leaned closer and whispered that lollipop was a special one. "It was my secret recipe. By giving it to your son, I hoped he would tell you how amazing it tasted and ask you to find out where he got it from." That way, I would get more customers and make more sales. And it seems my plan worked perfectly. He came straight to me to ask how much I sold it to him for. The businessman realized he had been tricked and felt embarrassed. However, he couldn't deny that the lollipop maker was smart and clever. The businessman paid the vendor an extra $1 and said, "You deserve it. You've outsmarted me." From that day on, the businessman always kept an extra $1 in his wallet whenever he went out. He never knew when he might encounter another clever person who could teach him a thing or two. And that's the end of our story. Now, we will discuss some questions related to the story. Question 1. Why did the lollipop seller tell Mena to earn money instead of giving her another lollipop? Answer. The lollipop seller wanted Mena to understand the value of hard work and earning money. He believed that things should be bought with money, not given for free. Question 2. What did the candy seller mean when he said, "Only those who work hard and earn money can buy them"? Answer. He meant that everything has a price, and if you want something, you should work hard, earn money, and buy it, instead of expecting it to be given for free. Question 3. How did the lollipop seller's trick help him make more sales? Answer. When the boy told his father about the lollipop, the father went to the seller and asked him how much he charged for it. This made the seller famous because the father wanted everyone to know how amazing his lollipops were.